Hello everyone, welcome to FP Learning. My name is Rabbi Alam and today I am going to discuss about Bernoulli's principle. Bernoulli's principle is based on conservation of energy, right? It says that energy can only change from one form to another form or be transferred from one body to another body. It cannot be created and cannot be destroyed. Means, it neither increase nor decrease in any system. If you see at this figure at point 1, due to the height we have high potential energy, and since the ball is at idle condition, kinetic energy is low. Once the ball started moving at this point 2, we have high kinetic energy and low potential energy, because all the potential energy changed to kinetic energy while ball is moving on the surface, gaining the momentum all the way. Now this momentum is going to the top. There is a loss of energies, and all those potential kinetic energy converted to those potential energy, right? So Bernoulli's principle state that in steady flow without friction, the sum of velocity head, pressure head and elevation head is constant for any incompressible fluid particle throughout its course. In other words, the total pressure, which is head, is the same at all locations within the system. Now the Bernoulli's principle is based on some of the assumptions, right? The first one, the flow is steady. The second one's density is constant, means incompressible. And the third one, the friction losses are negligible, right? We'll discuss regarding that one at the end of this module. Then if you can see the figure here at reference point 1 and reference point 2, right? At 1 we have higher areas, and at point 2 we have lower areas, right? So A1 is greater than A2. So if you can see here, due to the high diameters, pressure is high and velocity is low, and at the same time while the water going at point 2, due to the decrease in the pipe size, the velocity is high and pressure getting down, pressure is low at this location. So energy at point 1 and 2 is the constant. Only at one location pressure is getting up, and at another location velocity is getting down, and vice versa for other applications. This is all about the Bernoulli's principle. Now we have to derive the Bernoulli's equation. So before derivation, we have to discuss regarding the various forms of energy which they have taken into Bernoulli's equations to derive that one. We have three forms of equations. We have potential energies, kinetic energy and pressure head, which is pressure energy, right? And we know this from basic science. Potential energy equals to mass, gravity into height. Kinetic energy equals to the half mass of the substance and velocity of that, and the pressure energy equals to pressure over density gravity, right? Means pressure energy per unit weight. We'll discuss all those into the derivation. Now here is the Bernoulli's equation, right? At section 1 and at section 2, if you can see the pressure energies here, kinetic energy we have this one, and this is our potential energy at point 1, and similarly is the same one at point 2, right? So the total energy equals to pressure energy plus kinetic energy plus potential energy. Now let's derive the Bernoulli's equation, right? We have to know that this is one of the widely used equation, and from where this equation comes, how Daniel Bernoulli expressed his ideas and how he proved that one. We'll discuss here, and we'll clear all those doubts. So before derivation, we have to follow the three concepts. Concept 1 here we have, right? dV by dt1 equals to dV by dt2, means the amount of volume at point 1 and the amount of volume at point 2 in same time will be equal, right? Means it is based on the continuity equation, which says that equal amount of the volume at point 1, the same amount of the volume should pass the point 2. Means continuity equation, the flow will be equal in all the locations, right? This is what continuity equation says, right? If you can see here the figures, this is our cross section area A1, this is dV, means the volume of the fluid, and this is the dx1, means the distance of the pipe, right? And similarly here we have area of cross section A2 and volume dV, and then we have dx2, which is the distance of the pipe, and this is the velocity v2. The height y1 for this section 1 and height y2 for section 2. If you can see change in the elevation, it will count for the potential energy. Now if you can observe that one, A2 is less than A1, right? This areas of cross section is less than the A1, right, regarding this one. So we know, as for the continuity equations, the equal amount of the mass should pass through the pipe at its locations. Mass should be equal at all the locations, right? The flow will be equal at all those locations. Maybe at some location we need high pressures, at some location we need high velocity. In this case, right, we'll prove that one. Let's prove that first. dV by dt1 equals to dV by dt2, where V is the volume, right? Volume at point 1 and volume at point 2. Why volume is constant? Because the equal amount of volume at section 1 and section 2. In section 2, if you can see, the pipe diameter is low, but at this location velocity is high. So the same amount of the same amount of the fluid will pass for this section compared to the fluid at point 1. At this location we have higher velocities, and at this location we have lower velocity, and vice versa for the pressure, right? P2 is less than P1. This is the pressure P2, right? This is less than the pressure P1, and V2 is greater than V1 because we have less diameter, so velocity is high and pressure is low, and A2 is less than A1. So these are the three concepts we have to apply here for the continuity equation, right? So we know volume. We know that volume equals to area into distance, right? This area of question A1 into dx1. So just put this value here, A1 into x1 by dt, and similarly A2 into x2 by d2 at point 2. And we know that from the basic equation of the motion, distance equals velocity into time. So if you want to take velocity, so velocity equals to distance, which is by time t, or x by t, whatever we can say. So now we take A1 outside and we put dx1 by dt. So dx1, this is x1, dx1 by dt equals to, again take A2 outside, dx2 by dt. So now distance over time equals to velocity. So now we come to a final conclusion. Just a moment. We come to a final conclusion. A1 V1 equals to A2 V2, which is the continuity equation, where A1 is the area, V1 is the velocity at point 1, and similarly A2 and V2 is the other parameter at point 2. So equal amount of mass should go from the pipe in unit time. The second concept we have, this is the first one we discussed, and then second concept we have to apply, density equals to mass over volume, or mass equals to density into volume, right? So the mass in this volume is, what is the mass in this volume? We can find from this formula, means the density of water times volume, right? And similarly at this point we can find that one. And then we have the concept third, right? This is first, this is second, and this is third, which is saying that to put water inside pipe at section 1, at cross section A1, we need some force, right? Some force required to put water inside the pipe. Now that force depend on the pressure, right? So force equals to pressure into area. We know from the basic equation that pressure equal to force by area, F by A. So we can just keep that side. So force equals to P1 A1. So at section 1 we need pressure P1 to push water inside, maybe via a pump, by some elevation, and whatever reason we need this much force at this location, and similarly we need this much force at location 2 to push water. This is the concept 1, second and third we discussed, right? Now let's apply these rules. We know that one work equals to force into distance, which is F1 into D1, right? And then W2 equals to F2 into D2, work done at point 1 and work done at point 2. So we'll put P1 A1 instead of the F1, because from this equation F1 equals to P1 A1, into x1, and work done at point 2 is equal to pressure area multiplied by distance, where x1 and x2 is the distance at section 1 and 2. This is the distance at section 1 and this is the distance at section 2, right? Now the work done was due to the conservative force of gravity and the change of kinetic energy of the fluid, right? So we have to consider these two locations, right? Section 1 and 2, section 1 and this is section 2, and then we have to use the formula for the kinetic energies and potential energy, right? So we know that the change in kinetic energy equals to half mv square. So the kinetic energy at point 2 and kinetic energy at point 1, right? Half m2 v2 square minus half m1 v square. Now the mass we can take, instead of the mass we can write mass equals to density into volume, right? We can write mass equals to density into volume, and this mass we can put into those equations here, and similarly we can apply the same rule for the potential energy, right? Potential energy is equal to mass gravity into height. So y2 is the height, this one, and y1 is the height, this one. So this is the two equation of kinetic energy and potential energy. Now change in work done, right? The total work done, we have to add those kinetic energy and potential energy. Just add these two values, W1 minus W2, change in the work, equals to kinetic energy plus potential energy. So we have work done at point 1, we have P1 A1 into x1, right, here, and W2 is here. We have and then we have at the right hand side we have the values of kinetic energy and potential energy, right? So just use these two volume, these two here and these 2 point, and we'll got this equation. Instead of the mass they have just used this density into volume, keep in mind. Now remember this A1 into x1, just wait a moment. This A1 is to x1 means area into distance equals to volume. So we take volume outside because it's common in these 2 points. Volume is constant throughout the mass, throughout the pipe between 2 sections. And in the right hand side also, if you use the basic mathematics, we have taken the V outside by doing some of the arrangement in the equation. So if the velocity is, if the volume at the right side and the left side is same, we'll cancel it out, and then we have a final equation here, right? P1 minus P2 equals to this one. Now we have to rearrange these formulas, right? You just rearrange by yourself, right? You know, we have to rearrange these formulas, and then we come finally to this point, and this is the Bernoulli's equation, right? Remember I says that Bernoulli's equation is the sum of pressure head, potential energy and kinetic energy at point 1, and the same at point 2. It is constant throughout the mass, and hence we derived that one. We derived the Bernoulli's principle. So this is all about the Bernoulli's principle, right? But with the Bernoulli's principle, we have some of the restriction, right? It is values for incompressible flow only, because of the weight, specific weight of the fluid is constant, right? If it is compressible, it will be changing, so it's not valid for that one. Point number 2 talking about there can be no mechanical device between 2 sections of the interest, right? Because that might add energy or remove the energy from the system, and the equation doesn't support that one. Point number 3 talks about there can no heat transfer into or out of the system should take place, and the last but not the least, regarding the friction loss, right? And there can be no energy loss due to the friction, and in real life all of those restriction is, all of those system satisfied this restriction is not possible, right? In reality no system satisfied all these restrictions. but still the Bernoulli's principle we are using for most of the application. Now let's talk about the real system. Real system are not frictionless, so we have to just use the value of the friction head loss, right? So we have the same equation right here. We use the same equation. At the end only we put the here H12, right? We just use H12 because suppose this is two pipe, and between pipe 1 and 2 if there is a flow, we must have some head loss, right? So those head loss should be accounted into those equation, and we can use that one. Now my next video will be for the Darcy-Weisbach mass formulas, and I will be using the same Bernoulli's principle. I will just use the Bernoulli's principle to derive the friction loss formula of Darcy-Weisbach mass, which is 4FLV square by 2GD, in my next video. So now we talk about restriction, adsorption, derivation. So let's talk about a little bit of the applications. So the application of Bernoulli's principle is wide, but I'm just covering some of those applications only in relating to the water industry. Mainly I'm talking about the fire protection system and all. The first one we have the pitot tube, right? So the pitot tube used to measure the velocity of the flow in pipe. They just use the Bernoulli's equation between these 2 points, and they find the velocities, and based on that they do some calculation from the Bernoulli's equation. The next one we have a centrifugal pumps, right? If you can see in the centrifugal pump, areas of the volute casing, once the liquid enter from the impellers and it's passing through all the way through this volute, right, casing, and going outside at the discharge flange, the area is getting higher at to the tops. So by doing those, area at this location is much more higher than area at this location where fluid enters inside the volute casing. Because of that, the velocity at this point is higher, much more higher, but all the way velocity going up to the top, all the velocity is converted into pressure head, right, potential energy at that point. By doing that one, kinetic energy due to the momentum of the mass or the fluid converted into the potential energy, right? So if pressure goes high at this point, velocity must be down, right? So this is all about Bernoulli's equation application in the centrifugal pumps also. Then we have the foam eductor, right? In the foam eductor we have water coming from this side and we have foam from this side, right? So we know that the water is at around 150 psi, and at that time it is very hard to directly inject foam inside the system without any mechanical device, right? So by using the foam inductor, if you can see this line, this is a tapered section, right? Consider point A, just wait a moment. Consider point A and point B, right? The fluid going all the way from this to this, the area is decreasing in the tapered section. So due to decrease in those areas, the pressure is decreased at this point, at point B. Again, the application of the Bernoulli's principle. If the diameter is getting lower, pressure will be lower and velocity will be high. So due to that, eductor used Venturi principle to introduce foam concentrate into the water stream, right? And this is how it works. Water foam can go easily mixed with water, and then it is going for the firefighting purpose. I will be making another video for all those applications along with the Bernoulli's principle derivation, so that it will help us a lot to understand. And then we have the Venturi meter, right? The Venturi meters used to measure the flow inside a pipe, and again it is because the change of the elevation between these 2 points. And then we have some formulas for the Venturi meters by using Bernoulli's equation, and we can easily derive the formula. We can easily calculate the flow from a pipe. The one at the corner here, right, it is used in aviation industries, right? In the wing design of the aircraft, at the top we have lower pressure, at the bottom we have higher pressure. Based on that we are getting lift, and aircraft is going up and coming down similarly for different applications. And that is not a matter to discuss at this point because it takes a lot of time, maybe next time. And here at the corner we have Torricelli's equations. They have also used the Bernoulli's equation and to find the velocity at this point 2 and velocity at this point. It is almost equal, and we'll discuss and we'll derive that one, what is the real fundamental behind that one. So that's all about Bernoulli's principle, right? We discussed about application, we discussed about limitation, derivation, and assumption. So I hope you guys have learned something from this one. Please, if you have any doubt, you can contact me through LinkedIn or Facebook. If you like my video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so that other can get the benefit from this video. So that's all from this. See you next time. Bye bye and take care.